Hello, hello, lovely souls. Thank you so very much once again for sprinkling some of your time and attention over to this podcast, The Fresh Approach Fitness, a wellness company, our weekly podcast to do with mindset and movement and meals and helping you really live your best life. And, it's not about your life today. It's about living your future life, the life that you are working towards. Because the life that you're living today is your life from your decisions that you have made in the past. So everything that we talk about in this show are habits and ideas and suggestions that you can start implementing today to work on your future self, right? So thank you so much for joining us again. Episode number 37, December 14th, December 14th, 2020 to be exact. And, the date's important because you never know when you're going to be listening to this. So we are still in COVID. And what that means for those that aren't familiar is there's been a lot more restrictions for people being home and away from other people wearing masks. Our society and expectations have changed. But what hasn't changed is how you take care of yourself, your priorities, your goals. Those should not have changed. They may have had a temporary bump in the road, but your goals shouldn't have changed that much just because life has happened. If that's the case, if your goals and your life has changed exponentially because life has happened, you might want to reevaluate your goals. Perhaps they were not in alignment with what you're trying to become, what you're working towards. Perhaps they were more in alignment with material things or external happiness, because really it starts with you. Change starts with you. What you're looking to achieve starts with you. And happiness definitely starts with you. Not how people make you feel, how you respond to people. And of course, there's going to be moments, but today we're going to talk about the power of routine and how that structure can make a huge difference to your life. Even if you're not a structure person, even if you have 100 things on your plate, like most of us do right now, right? So many of us are working from home, or we're homeschooling, or our life just looks completely different than it did 9 months ago. That's okay. There are still things on your wish list that you are trying to get done. There are still goals that you are trying to achieve. And the best way to do that is to have a routine with bookends, a routine with little habits, things that you look forward to throughout your day that you are getting through so you can make today the best day. And tomorrow will be the best day. But really, you've got little moments in between your day today that you are looking forward to. And if this isn't you, or if you want to learn how to look even more forward to your day and the moments that make up your day, because it's those moments that truly matter. And I kind of wish y'all could see me, because I am totally talking with my hands on the edge of my seat, the biggest smile on my face, so excited to share this with you. Like usual, guys, reach out to me at any time. I would love to hear your feedback, your comments, your recommendations, your suggestions, even if you have questions as to how to implement some of these strategies that we talk about. I will take you through some tactical implementations as well, so you've got some ideas how to roll these out into your day-to-day. And I'll share a little bit of what my day-to-day looks like. Yes, some days I have to pause and reevaluate and see where everything fits in and see what's more important on the busy days, right? But such is life. It doesn't mean it won't get done. And if it doesn't get done, it doesn't mean it's the end all and be all today. So, when it comes to creating a routine, a successful routine, and call it what you will, a plan, a goal, a guideline, some people don't like the word routine because they find it too structured, especially if you're a type 1 type personality. No, not type 1. That's a bad way of calling that. But just go with me on this when it comes to routine. Call it what you will. A structure, a plan, a guide. Because I know I was resistant to the word routine for the longest time. When I first came out of school, I didn't want much to do with routine. When I first had a baby, I didn't want much to do with routine, but I definitely learned the benefits of having a routine. And my routine has changed quite a bit over the last 9 months for the better. It means I'm listening to my body more. My body has adapted more. And those that have listened, have been listening all along, you're already well aware that I did have a studio. And with that studio came a point where I was teaching 23 classes a week. And that meant early mornings and later nights. That meant a lot of physical activity. In hindsight, it should have meant resting a lot more throughout the day so I could keep up with all of the activity and the movement. But I wasn't a rest throughout the day kind of person unless I was extremely exhausted. But eventually I did get exhausted. And yes, COVID happened, and yes, there were changes, and yes, I started to bring on a team. But it still took me a long time to recover from that. And that recovery still helps, or still has an impact with my recovery with my ankles, right? And my whole body. It's not just your mind that gets tired or your physical body that gets tired. Your choices become cumbersome to make. And this is where having a successful routine makes a difference. It really impacts your mind, your body, and your soul. So I'm going to start with a bit of a story, and I picked this up from a friend of mine, and I think it's fantastic. I'm just going to use my own words to it, but the premise came from her. And essentially, when you are a chef, right, and you're in the kitchen and you are getting everything that you need in order to start your meal that you're preparing, you really need to make sure that you have everything that you need to get prepared. You need to gather your ingredients. You need to collect the pots and pans and utensils that you need. What needs to be chopped gets chopped. Everything needs to be in its place before you begin, so you are prepared and in control, so time is on your side. This way you're more efficient and you're setting yourself up for success. In French, it's called mise en place, which means everything in its place. Yes, I do speak French. No, you won't hear it often, but, mise en place, everything in its place. And that's what a lot of chefs do in the kitchen. How often do we do the same thing when it comes to cooking a meal? Do we just kind of see what we have, or do we make sure that we have everything to get started, to expedite our time and to enhance the experience, we'll say, right? Or are some of us just sitting on the whim? And I'm a little bit like this. Sometimes I'll say to Tony, let's bake something. He's like, how do we even know we have the ingredients? Other people are going to have different priorities in terms of making sure we have everything, where some people are more adventurous and they're like, oh, if we don't have it, we'll go pick it up. But that means you're pausing. You're almost interrupting the moment, and you're definitely not making the experience the best experience. So when it comes to setting yourself up a routine, before you begin, get your stuff together. So go back and think about this cooking experience for 1 second. The chef who prioritizes has everything in place. He is far more in control. The process is manageable. But the chef who doesn't get everything put together before beginning the work, everything feels that much more challenging. It takes a little bit longer. Mistakes are more likely to happen, or there's more interruptions, right? You have to go and pick things up. It's not prepared and pre-measured and organized. This chef doesn't have more work to do, but it certainly feels harder and more overwhelming. That is the same with you on the days that you don't have a routine. And your routine does not need to be set in stone at all. But, settle into today's episode and see what I mean by how a successful routine is going to help you elevate and upgrade your life. Okay? Because some people go through the day feeling more prepared. They feel in control. They have what they need, which makes them more able to do what they want to do with less resistance. less resistance leaves a lot less room for overwhelm and for feelings of uncertainty. These people prioritize getting everything in place before the beginning of the day. Their lives aren't necessarily easier, but they're making it feel easier because of the little time they spend investing in being prepared. It comes down to efficiency, and it also reduces the feelings of being overwhelmed, which is exactly what we need right now in today's society. Let's be honest, we always need this in society. We're using this right now as an excuse, but we always need in society to feel a lot less overwhelmed. Think of how that would make a difference in your life, right? If you felt a lot less overwhelmed with all of the roles that you play and everything that you do. And, just like anything, as I talk about this podcast, although I'm talking about routine, it does make a huge difference when it comes to weight loss, fat loss in particular, because fat loss and weight loss are two totally different things, two completely different goals, right? It also has a big impact on money management. It also has a big impact on relationships, whether that be your partner, your spouse, your friendships. Feeling less overwhelmed has an impact on you, everybody you react with day to day, and your future self goals. Remember, the whole onset of these podcasts is to help you live your future life, not your past life. Your past life is the life that you're living right now. It's made up of all of the decisions that you have made to get you to today. We want to be making decisions for what your future life looks like. More importantly, what does your future life feel like? Does it feel like a person who is less overwhelmed? Does it feel like a person who is a lot more relaxed, in control, in charge? And I don't mean in charge of others, but even in charge of yourself, your time, your routine, your structure, money management, your relationships. Does it mean you can enjoy the simple things a lot more? You're more mindful in the moment. You can wiggle your toes and smile at any given time because you're not a walking stress case of what needs to be done. You're not as worried about your health. As we're going through the rest of this podcast today, think about how this applies to your future self. Reach out to me at any time you're looking for help with changes to be made. And help is a great term because we don't reach out for help very often unless we're past the point of needing help. We want to catch this when we're curious. Let me say that again. We want to lean into help, advice, support when we're at the point where we're curious. So it's easier to transition into change. So it's easier to build this into our habits. So it's easier, and the feeling of overwhelmed is no longer part of the picture because we're making the choice because we want to, not because we have to. Okay. For me, a good day begins the night before. What you will need in order to be successful and help you contribute to another great day starts the night before. It starts about thinking about what's different the next day. You already know what's the same. You already know that you have to work at 9 a.m., for instance, and you're working 9 to 6, so that is there. You already know your bigger bookends, or in my case, I already know my bigger bookends as to when I wake up in the morning and when I have a hard cutoff and go to bed at night. So I have a couple of hard cutoffs in my day, and I have a couple of bookends in my day, which are very firm cutoffs. Typically, they're hard cutoffs, but I have some movement for flexibility. And then I have my day. And this can sound busy and overwhelming, but it's not. I am definitely up each day, and this isn't firm, this is a little bit loose, but I am definitely up each day, I would say between 6 and 6:30, if not even a bit earlier than that. But I am waking up naturally at those times, 6 to 6:30 every day. And my bedtime is 10:30 at night, every night. Every once in a while, we'll chat for a few minutes in bed. Every once in a while, I'll read a book for 5 minutes, but definitely in bed by 10:30. About. It could be 10:35, but you definitely I'm in bed before 10:45. So let's just say it's typically on 99% of the days we're talking 10:30 in bed. And I'm naturally up at 6 in the morning ish. 6:30. So those are my hard cutoff times. There's a little bit of a range, but those are my hard cutoff times. In bed and up by a certain time. Now I have another bookend, and those that coach with me, those that have done any kind of training with me, those that have any evening structures with me know that I have a hard cutoff time at 9:15 every single night. My day is done at 9:15. You know why? I have date night at 9:30 every single night on the couch with Tony. Date night every single night. This is important to me. Tony's not my first relationship. You know, I have 2 ex-husbands. They didn't work out. What didn't work out in the past is a whole bunch of things. But the one thing that matters to me moving forward is that we spend time together. And if that time together starts with a 45-minute or a couple half an hour TV shows that we're able to laugh about and look forward to as it's just the 2 of us, well, of course, and the 2 dogs, on the couch, whether it's holding hands, always having a tea, sometimes a treat, it's us just being together. Normally, it's not a lot of conversation because we're unwinding for the day. Together. This matters to me. This matters to Tony because it matters to me, and now we've gotten used to it. Our relationship started this way, and neither one of us are big TV watchers. So it's kind of ironic how we end our day with TV, but we both look forward to it. I can't quite say if he looked forward to it now because it's something that we've always done or just a way that we unwind our day together. But we both look forward to it, and I am firm. I will not miss a night without us being together. Again, unless it's the odd exception. Every single one of my nights gets ended with a date night. Even if we're out with friends, we come home and we normally change and watch a show, even if it's just a quick half an hour show that we'll watch together. It works for us. And just because it works for us doesn't mean it works for you, right? But having those hard cutoff times where you're able to unwind. So remember how I said at 9:15 I'm done. It's a hard cutoff for me, for my day. My days are long. I start work at 9, but before I start work, I do work on my business. Before this, like I'm working on this podcast now, right? And I normally get back to people throughout the day. I'm also working throughout the day. I get back to people, before I start work in the mornings. But the fact is our days are long, our days are full. We do have 5 kids. We do have my parents. We do have our grandson and a lot of responsibility throughout the day. That it's not just a matter of getting up and going to work, but it's a matter of staying connected to what matters. My future self has a happy and healthy relationship. So does my current self. My past self did not have that. This is working. I am keeping this in my schedule every single day. So as you think about what you want to change, in what areas is different from your present self to your future self, think about what's working, what you like, and what areas you want to make changes to. Okay? If you're not a morning person, there are some tricks, and we're going to talk about this. But there are some things when it comes to having a successful morning routine and the power of routine that really helps. Bookends to your day. Hard bookends, so a hard cutoff and bookends. My day starts and ends at certain times. My bookends for my evening, a certain time. 9:15, hard cutoff. So I can change, get ready for bed. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I might not even have a client until then. I could be in a bath, whatever. I am on the couch by 9:30. Sometimes 9:15. And then I take a few minutes to myself before he comes into the living room. And that's fine. I'll either catch up on my phone or I'll do some knitting. I'll do some coloring. I will unwind myself personally from the day. I'll just stare at the fireplace and reminisce about my day and what worked. You know, a little bit of meditation and thoughtfulness. Or I'll just play with the dogs. It doesn't matter, but we're on the couch at 9:30. Okay? So having those structures, those bookends to your day will make a big difference. Your body will get used to going to bed at a certain time. Because of that, your body will get used to getting up at a certain time. And there will be a lot less resistance when it comes to things like wanting to get out of bed, the nice, soft, cozy bed, because you are actually excited to start your day. So there are a few things you can do the night before. You can pick out your clothes for the next day. I have my workout wear on. Today I had to rearrange my schedule a little bit, but I'm wearing my workout wear ready to work out on the bike. It might be shortened, but it doesn't mean it's not going to get done. It might be done at a different time today, but that's okay. It's going to get done. Find out what your priorities are and what needs to be done, and throw that into your weekly calendar, into your schedule. Whatever you need to do, right? I always have a plan for the following day. A plan. So I am not, I forgot as often. It's still going to happen, but a bit of a plan. So I tidy up the house a bit at night, making sure most of the dishes are done, everything's put away, the kitchen's clean, as much as I can. I'm not going to do it if I'm exhausted. If I know it's going to take me 5 quick minutes in the morning, I'll just tidy it and I'll finish it up in the morning, right? But we're not dealing with a filthy house or an uncluttered house in any which way, right? Pick out your clothes. Have them ready. Figure out. So we actually pick out our clothes and have them set out. Tony puts his in the bathroom. He's always done this. Even before I met him, he's picked out his clothes and put them in the bathroom. I, on the other hand, put mine in the bedroom. I have my workout wear picked out the night before so I can hop on the bike. Because as I mentioned last week, I have completely fallen in love with watching a TV show, a funny TV show on the bike. So now I have that TV show waiting for me and that laughter waiting for me every single time I go to work out. I love it. I love it. I have something to look forward to when it comes to working out. It's helped me reshift my thought and help me make that a priority. And that's exactly what we need to be doing with every single thing that we can do in our life. Make it fun so we make it a priority. Anything that's a priority, if it's not fun, if it's not something that you're not looking forward to, let's connect and talk about that, okay? I certainly invite you to have a conversation with me about how I can help you make your day-to-day and your routines and those little moments in between more fun. And it starts with thinking of your future self. I'm going to throw this out there now so you can think about this for when we do chat. What does your future self, your future life feel like? Is it relaxed? Is she happy? Is she go with the flow? Is she less stressed? Is she healthy because she's eating good foods? All of that takes planning. All of that takes taking a look at. All of that takes structure so you can get there. And it takes focus. All right, let's get back to the routine. So a successful routine starts with the night before. Tidying up a little bit, knowing what's what so you have an idea what needs to be done in the morning, okay? Having a plan for the following day. A work plan, a personal plan, a business plan, whatever it looks like to you. I don't necessarily have it all written down, and that is helpful. Every single thing I plan, and again, you guys all know that we live busy lives, Tony and I, right? We both have full-time jobs. We both have a business that we're building. In my case, I'm also building a brand, which includes 3 network marketing companies that I'm aligned with. That brand is part of my business, right? So just to put things into perspective, when I'm coaching people and we're working on habits, we talk about celebrating those habits. You celebrate each and every single time you are successful with a habit for a period of time, whether it starts with a week and then 3 weeks, and it goes from there. I'm not going to share my whole strategy, but every single time you hit a new landmark, you celebrate that. So you continue on that habit until it becomes second nature, just like you would a child who's potty training. Exactly the same thing. You're rewarding the habit. And as adults, we need that. We really, really need that. Because once we add those new habits into our life, once we realize that changing the habits can be fun and that we can add some different rewards and some sense of accomplishments to them, we're going to continue to want to upgrade and elevate our life. That's why it's so important. Okay, we're busy. That's the whole point of me sharing this, that we have the family responsibilities, we have friends, we have a wonderful life together, we make time for one another. Our kids are happy. We're doing something right, which is why I'm sharing with you um, a lot of this, because if we can do this, you can do this. So a good day begins the night before. Figure out what needs to be done. We've talked about tidying up the house or taking a quick overview as to, okay, I want to do this and this tomorrow. It doesn't have to be done at night. You do what you can at night, keep it as clean as you can, but sometimes we get tired. I use all my energy during the day, then I do get tired at night. Perhaps that's one thing I can expand on, but it doesn't matter because this is working for me right now, and that's something I might look at down the road. I don't need a lot of energy at night. I like to be prepared to unwind before I sit down and go to bed at night. So this is working for me, and if I'm tired, I like to listen to that. I don't like to force life anymore. It doesn't mean everything needs to be done the night before, but a good routine begins the night before. So we talked about the kitchen or the house. Have a plan for the following day, whether your personal schedule, your business schedule, your work schedule, whatever it looks like. The one thing I would encourage, if you're looking for a balanced lifestyle, the one thing I would encourage is to have your personal, your work, your business, any of your schedules in the exact same place, on the exact same calendar. And here's why. You want to make this as streamlined as possible. You want to realize where all of your time is going. If all of your time is going towards work, that's not balance. If all of your time is going through personal, that's not balance. You can't be doing that on a work day, especially if you're working from home. Putting your to-dos or your action plan, I really like to call mine an action plan, not a to-do plan, but or to-do list or honey-do list. I like to call mine an action plan. And I'll probably change the name because that seems a little bit more structured for me. But we'll figure it out soon. Anyways, I do call mine an action plan for the day. I write it all out. And I include personal and business all in one spot. I actually use my calendar, my Gmail calendar for almost everything. And like my Google Calendar. And I just use different colors so I can see at a glance what's going on and what needs to. I don't put the little things in there. I don't write down that I need to do a podcast on Monday mornings. I know that. That's routine. But I do have a different sheet in my notebook where I keep track of some of the little things that I do that help make up my day. Okay? They're not time stealers, but they help make up my day so I know that they're getting done and I can check them off. Writing things down, checking them off matters to me. It's a sense of accomplishment. Try it. If you've never done it, try it. If it doesn't matter to you, then don't worry about it. But if you're going through your day not sure what you've accomplished, try it. Okay. So I have a plan for the day. I do know what happens first, second, third, etc. There are some changes that need to be made, for sure. Right? I didn't get my workout in. I'm doing my podcast first today. Most days, lately, I like to get my workout done first and then anything else. But I'm taking Nathan to school today. Not a problem at all. It just means which comes first today. I still know what I want to do. The podcast is more important to me because it's not more important to me than working out. I have my workout clothes on, but I'm on a deadline. There is a time factor this morning to make sure I leave the house by a certain time. It is winter, which means I'm not leaving the house with wet hair. I like to have a shower after I work out, immediately after I work out. So I would need at least 45 minutes to an hour. And for me, it was more important to get the podcast done first because I can work out on my lunch if I want to. I can work out right after I get back from dropping him off. I can do a quick workout, have a quick shower, and start work. Not a problem, right? Because I can expedite that whole thing. Nobody sees me at work. So sometimes you make a little bit of arrangements, but you don't know what to rearrange if you don't know what you're doing. So you need to know what your plan is. I filled up the kettle last night, so all I have to do is turn it on this morning. That's a little thing. I know coffee, Tony makes sure his coffee is upstairs and then he's got more than enough for the week and we top up the sugar. Same thing as preparing our lunches. Even though I work from home, I prepare some snacks and I have some lunch ideas as to what I'm going to have every single day. not every single day to the core, whether I'm going to have a shake, whether I'm going to have a salad, whether I'm going to have leftovers for lunch. But I do prepare my snacks. I already know what my snacks are going to be for the day. Because for me, the snacks is where I lose track a little bit. So like last night, I took my frozen fruit, put it in a container. I will have some with yogurt today. It's exactly what I'm going to do. So getting little things prepared the day before, water in the coffee pot, water in the tea kettle, making sure that we have the coffee, the tea, the sugar all ready for us, right? Having our snacks prepared, especially if it's frozen and it needs to be thawed. Knowing ballpark what we're going to be doing when. I also take time to care for my body, brushing my teeth, washing my face, things like that. So I am ready. That's what I do at night at 9:15 before 9:30. Before we sit on the couch, I take care of my body. Brush my teeth, floss, moisturize my face, and get my pajamas on. I get ready for bed. And then we go to the couch. Sometimes I fall asleep on the couch. Sometimes I don't. But that's okay. I like to say that when I fall asleep on the couch, it's because I'm comfortable and cozy. I fell asleep last night. I knew I was going to fall asleep last night, though. I had a bath, and it was super, super hot. And that always does it to me. So in the morning the next day, I have my clothes ready to go. I have my water bottle ready to go where it's grab and go. And I'm going downstairs first thing to work out. It starts the night before, having a plan, knowing what you're doing. And this is so true when it comes to whatever your goals are. This is going to help you with things like focus and fat loss. And you're probably wondering why, how is a morning routine or how is having any kind of routine going to help with focus and fat loss? Focus means you're not going to be overthinking about what to do when. You know what you're doing. You're going to automate the process and you're going to reward the habits. I'm not going to get into too deep into detail about the focus and fat loss because we're already looking at past half an hour and I do like to keep these around half an hour. But we will circle back to these. How about that? Couple tips, oh my goodness, tips I want you to think about as we conclude today's show. Think of your future self and what kind of lifestyle you're looking to live, okay? If that means going to bed earlier, go to bed earlier so you have a better sleep, so you're more prepared for the morning. Set your alarm for the actual time you need to get up. Don't set backup alarms. I used to be bad for that. I felt like I had to set up a backup alarm because I lived by myself and I was worried about missing classes and I was always tired. But when you go to bed at a certain time, you're not as tired anymore. Okay? There are other tips that you can add to your day in which we haven't talked about, so I will just briefly share these right now and we can talk about them at a different point. So intentional breathing or silence. Almost every time I go to bed at night, actually every single night, I think about the highlight of my day. So that's gratitude for me, but while I am doing the gratitude, I am intentionally breathing. Okay. Affirmations and visualization. Those are huge. Goals and movement. This doesn't have to be a full-blown workout, but some cardio, some movement, some stretches, whatever it looks like to you. These things, if you can add these into your day and keep them consistent throughout the day, they are going to help you with focus and fat loss. So going to bed earlier, intentional breathing, or silence, affirmations, visualizations, gratitude, goals, and movement. So if you start each day with writing out your action plan or your goal list and you check them off, there comes a huge feeling of success with that. There is a major power of routine, my friends. As I mentioned, I am not going to keep you for too long today. I can be reached at www.freshapproachfitness.ca or you can go to Ask Sonya, AskSonya.ca. Again, my email is Sonya, SONYA, @freshapproachfitness.ca. You can go there as well. You can reach out to me anytime. I am here to help guide and support you on your journey. The purpose here is so you can be the sparkle in your own life and do something wonderful just because. But it starts off with the power of routine. That's where you're going to find the balance. That's where you're going to notice what needs to be changed. That's what you're going to notice what's working. And it's going to give you more confidence every single day in your life because you're able to make more controlled decisions. And that's where the power of focus comes in. Have yourself a wonderful, wonderful week, my friends. I am here every step along the way to help you on your journey. Any questions that you have, let me know. And like usual, if you like this episode, please support me. You can like, share, comment below. Definitely share with your friends, like the episode, make a comment, but any support that you have to give me is a huge, huge, huge help because it's going to let others know that they should be listening to this as well. I would love to hear your best takeaway from today's episode. Okay? Reach out to me and let me know. Have a fantastic day, my friends.